Hey, and welcome everyone to today's YouTube Live. We are trying out something new, and that is for the very first time on my personal YouTube channel, we're gonna have an English video. And this is a bit of a heads up. If so far you've only been watching me in German, then always check the title. I'm gonna try this out, and if you totally dislike it, then let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. I think I'm very open in kind of doing German and English. I'll definitely not drop the German. This is going to be very important. People have to become CryptoFit in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and obviously all the other German speakers around the world. But I do want to push the English a bit more. I received so many questions from people on my German videos who say, hey, I really want to see more English, and can you do your things in English? So bit of a heads up, so check the titles always, EN or DE. I think it should be very straightforward. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat if you don't like that. And then we're gonna look for another solution, but I think it should be fine. Today, very interesting topic. Who owns a blockchain actually? When you come in, drop me a quick line where you're calling in from, and I think that would be very interesting. I want to give you a bit of a background story on how this topic came up of who owns blockchain. And this was actually during a lunch in San Francisco, where I just came from. And I had this really interesting discussion over blockchain governance, blockchain control, who owns these things. And I realized a lot of people, even though if they're really, really smart and they've been in this area for quite some time, they don't really think about some deeper questions. And it actually came down to a very interesting discussion. And this discussion I posted on Twitter. And I don't know if you follow me on Twitter. If you don't, then you should definitely follow me on Twitter. Just look up my handle, Julianhosp, because I post every once in a while some very disruptive things. And I had even team members in 10X who kind of freaked out about these comments, right? And I noticed that a lot of people are not thinking about this. And my question was, and I made it look like I support this comment, but I don't. It was most more a challenge to everyone. And the question was, it would be interesting to see a voting system for a government where the amount of taxes you pay resemble your voting rights. So obviously very, very critical and controversial topic, because this actually takes away from everything is equal, everyone should have the same kind of rights, everyone should have the same kind of vote. And why should money be the deciding factor, right? So a lot of very, very challenging questions. And I'm definitely not pro for this. I just wanted to throw this out. And obviously, within a few seconds, there was a lot of negative comments. And the problem was, it was actually not really it wasn't really founded on propaganda. It was just pure hate, right? Exactly what happens when you stab someone's belief system and people are not open to actually look from things differently. And I'm not pro, I'm just kind of throwing this out, right? So it's like the same thing as if you would discuss about gun control, or you would discuss about American politics, or you discuss about flat earth, it doesn't matter. So it was purely throwing out something and seeing the feedback you get from the community. And most of the people didn't have any founded kind of feedback. It was pure hate, or it was pure pro. It didn't matter. And then I made a follow-up tweet. Most people didn't even read this follow-up tweet anymore, but the follow-up tweet said, have you ever thought about how governance in a blockchain and a cryptocurrency actually works? How does this work in a proof of work and a proof of stake model? Is everyone equal? Question mark. And then I just said hashtag busted, hashtag time to think. That was my second tweet. And then again, I had people who were like, oh, but what does it have to do with having money to get some voting rights? You still had a lot of people who didn't understand a lot of the connections. And then it came to the third, and then I had a third tweet, and the third tweet was, actually in a blockchain, in all of the blockchains we know today, it's always those people with more possibilities, with more, in this case, more money, can buy more mining power, therefore have more hashing power. They can have more proof of stake. They can have more to stake. So at the end, every blockchain system right now is such a capitalistic system where some people called my suggestion of voting, which is not my suggestion, I just want to start the point, called plutocracy. This is where the interesting thing comes in. I would love to have your feedback on this. How does this actually fit together? In a blockchain, why is it okay that those that have more money have more consensus rights, have more voting rights? And to make this super extreme, think about what happened in 2016 when Ethereum, the rich and the wealthy of Ethereum, Vitalik and many, many people decided that we didn't like the DAO hack. So since we are the ones with the most money, since we are the ones, even though we're a small group only, but we are the ones with the most money, let's just do this to the entire community, and we split the community off. It can't be as clearer of what this actually means, being the one with more money, having more voting rights. So this is the interesting point that so few people can understand. They're completely against, obviously on the tweets, completely against voting rights based on how much money you have, which was kind of the reference to taxes, because it's still a very simple measurement actually to how much money you kind of have, even though it means, forget that, right? Don't go into too much into detail. It's more about the concept of who has more money should have more voting rights. They're completely against that on the fiat side. But when it comes to blockchain and crypto, they completely get blinded. It's like following blindly an idea, not thinking clearly, just kind of shutting everything out, and everything that's blockchain, everything that's crypto is pro. Not thinking about what this actually means. And suddenly there's these conflicting ideas, and that's when a lot of people wake up and they realize, holy moly, this is actually quite fascinating what's happening here. And I think that is something that's really important, that we need more in this ecosystem. It's not about which opinion is the right or wrong one. It's really not about this. It's about seeing things as they are and then building based on top of that and working with that. And there's so few people, sadly, especially in the ecosystem of cryptocurrencies, where there's so many people who are just blind followers and they just copy paste what other people say. And they don't think, does this make any sense? Oh yeah, in a blockchain, everyone is equal. Bullshit, it's just not true. And history in a blockchain shows over and over again, and if you actually think about governing models, you will understand it's actually absolutely not true. Those with more money, they by far have way more control of a blockchain. And this now brings me to the point of who owns a blockchain. It's the question we started this video with. Now, by definition, no one owns a blockchain, because what is a blockchain? A blockchain is nothing physical. You can't grab it. A blockchain is nothing else than consensus. It's the chain of blocks, of time blocks of what has happened. And this is chained together to an undeniable consensus, reality. But who creates it? Well, if you think those created, that's equal, it's not. So it's the wrong question, who owns it. The more important question is who controls it. And it's definitely those with more money who own more of the coins. Own the coins. Can you actually own Bitcoin? You can never own Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a virtual thing that's never leaving the blockchain. It never leaves the database. You can't put a Bitcoin in your pocket. All you can do is you can put the private key that controls a Bitcoin into your pocket. So interesting tax question. How can you be taxed on something that you technically never really own? You can only be taxed on the private key. And since you never sell your private key, it's actually very interesting to challenge. Maybe there's going to be a lawsuit on this at one point to actually challenge if we should pay taxes on Bitcoin or not. I'm just kind of throwing out, again, I'm just kind of throwing out ideas to challenge. I'm not the person who's going to lawsuit there. I just want to challenge beliefs, because at the end, that's what brings the human race forward. Not to discuss other people, but discuss challenging concepts, to grow as people and to get better idea and understanding of what's happening. So owning a blockchain is the wrong question. It's about who controls it. And that's very clear. It's those people who are part of a blockchain control the majority of the funds. And if you're not okay with this in the real world, why are you okay with this in a decentralized world as in a blockchain? Interesting question. Is it because there's something else attached to it? I tell you my reasoning, right? And maybe I would love to have your reasoning in the comments. The reasoning, I have no problem with this in the crypto world, and I don't have as much problem in the real world either, but I would have a problem with someone who has more money being like more valuable as a human being as someone who doesn't have money, because I don't think money is always the right measure stick, right? So that's just kind of the clear kind of point. But in a cryptocurrency, it's a clear measure stick. Whoever controls more of the coins controls the blockchain. It's as clear as it gets when it comes to consensus to a blockchain. I mean, obviously, it's not always the case, because people tend to sell their coins and they use the money to mine somewhere else. But the concept is always the same. The reason I don't have such a problem in the decentralized and blockchain world is because I have a choice. I have the choice to join it, to leave it, to move somewhere else. That is the big difference. I can't just leave a country. I can't just throw away a passport. I can't just leave a fiat system. I'm kind of stuck in it. They have a monopoly, and this monopoly many times is crap. And I would love to move somewhere, and I can't, or it's not possible. And this is where a decentralized community that's open is this really fantastic world. And maybe that's the reason you have a problem on the one side and not on the problem on the other side. And I would love to hear your kind of feedback and comments below. I think this would be very interesting. Other than that, if you want more of these videos, we're going to do them in German and English. We're going to mark them with DE and EN. Leave me some feedback on whether this makes sense. If you're interested in this, then I'm happy to do more of these English videos. Subscribe to the channel here. All the links are in the description below. Links to my book, links to Twitter, links to Instagram, links to our Facebook community. All these things are there. Would love for you to connect with me there and interact and exchange. And other than that, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, share this video if you think more people should see about this, and I'll see you at the next video. Cheers, yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.